It's the beginning of Combine Week, and the winds are already shifting on what the Bears might do. We break that down next on the Unbearable Sports Podcast.
I'm going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome
hair.
back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube and rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. Good morning, everybody. Football morning in America just released. Peter King announces his retirement, and also on the way out, he drops an absolute bomb on what the Bears might do. So for those that might have not seen it or just have woken up this morning, Peter King just released his Football Morning in America, and he had a little nugget to say about the Chicago Bears. So what he said is, I suppose the Bears are going to trade the top pick. I know nothing, but that seems to be the way the wind is blowing. What I say, the Bears could keep Justin Fields, and should, and put that in parentheses, and trade the first pick down once or twice and build the kind of supporting cast a team needs to contend. So this is from Peter King, like I mentioned, Football Morning in America this morning. And this is crazy because this is away from a lot of what we've normally been hearing from other insiders, that the Bears would be keeping that first pick. It's a no-brainer. You go after Caleb Williams. And like what I was saying yesterday, I expect them to draft Caleb Williams. That's all that we've been hearing throughout this offseason. The only times that we haven't heard something is when someone doesn't know what's going on. Now, Peter King did say, I know nothing, but it seems like that's the way the wind is blowing. So what that means to me is that it feels like he's just hearing from people talking about that this might shift another way. At least that's just kind of how I'm reading into it. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. But also something that he mentioned is the possibility of that double trade back. Now, what he said about that specifically, suppose GM Ryan Poles traded the top pick down one spot to Washington, which would take Caleb Williams, and got the second pick, a second-round pick, and a 2025 first-round pick in return. A second-round pick, then suppose Poles traded the second pick to Atlanta at 8, and the Falcons picked one of the other quarterbacks in return. Chicago gets the 8th pick, Atlanta's second round pick, and first and second round picks next year. So with this is actually what we talked about a week ago or so, the idea of the double trade back. And I mentioned this too, where if someone wants a quarterback, chances are you're going to get a higher return on your investment when you trade back. And that's where Drake May, right up here, all the rumors are that the Falcons want to trade up and try and get that player at the number 2 spot, which I like the idea, right? And that's where later on we'll do 2 mock drafts. We'll do one where they just kind of keep the picks, and we'll do another one that I know a lot of fans will like, but it is a possibility because when you trade for a quarterback, most likely will get more picks for it. And also for the Bears, if you're trading out of Caleb Williams, like I've said before, I like Drake May. I have a first-round grade on him, but I don't have him as this elite grade. Yet again, that's just my opinion. I know a lot of other people, they say Caleb Williams is 1A and Drake May is more of a 1B, and a lot of other people are saying Jaden Daniels is QB2 rather than Drake May. But let's evaluate this haul, shall we? So the haul that we're looking at with this is the Bears would have the 8th and 9th picks overall. They would have 2 second-round picks from Washington and Atlanta this year, and then also 2 future first-round picks, 3 total. So for those that actually read the article, he says 3 first-round picks, but when you read back to the other spot, he said that they're really kind of getting 1 from Atlanta and 1 from Washington, and then 1 extra second-round pick from Atlanta. So we'd have 3 total second-round picks next year and 3 total first-round picks the following year. So does that sound good to you? Let me know down below in the comments. Are you doing this? Are you not? But let's look at some mock drafts, shall we? Because I know I know that we want to see some mock drafts out there. Let's get started with the first one. I just wanted to say, what if they stuck at number 8 and stuck at number 9, right? We've talked about them trading out of that 9 spot or maybe even trading up, which we'll do later. Spoiler alert. So when you look at, let's just first look at the draft compensation that you get. So for the first pick overall, we've heard this from Brad Spielberger. He was kind of expecting something around this type of a haul. So I have the Bears getting the 36th pick rather than our other original 40th pick at that second round, and a first-round pick in the following year, like Peter King wrote. I think that this haul is okay. I think it's good, right? If they had this is a very good haul for the first pick overall. Anything else I feel like would be bonus and would be an extra gift for the Bears to trade out of that first pick. Then the second piece, I don't necessarily love this deal when I look at it on paper, and when I threw it into the mock draft simulator on PFF, it gave it an 80% chance of acceptance. And just for those curious, the first trade was an 11% chance of being accepted when I threw it inside of the simulation. So for me, that trade back to the Falcons, I would like to see a little bit more compensation. Maybe it's maybe it's a second round pick, so similar to like what you got for a with the trade with Carolina. Maybe you get another second in 2026 maybe. Then I would feel a little bit better, but it seems a little bit slightly weak, right? I'm a little greedy. I want more out of that pick. But let me know if you agree or disagree with me down below in the comments. But who could they get? This, to me, would be a dream scenario. If Rome Odunze were to fall, or actually Malik Neighbors would fall, but if one of the wide receivers falls, which we've heard before, seems very unlikely. That is one thing that I don't like about trading back to number 8 is you need a wide receiver. You need someone that can catch passes. And that's where maybe a Brock Bowers, watch him this week at the scouting combine, because most likely out of all the people that can catch passes from a quarterback, he's the most likely to be dropping to the Bears at the number 9 spot. But if Rome Odunze's there, or if any of these other wide receivers, I like the idea of getting someone like that for your quarterback, which in this case would be Justin Fields. So in this scenario, we get the wide receiver, and also we draft Brock Bowers at 9 so that you just say, load up with weapons, right? Here's some good weapons. We don't want any excuses this time around. And then at pick 36, I've said this before, I've mocked this before, you draft a quarterback, because if you have Justin Fields and you're saying we're building around you and we want you to be here, I still think it's a good idea to at least exercise that that early second that you're going to get from the Commanders. So at that pick 36, I'm going Michael Penix Jr. Like I've said before, most likely he's going to be available in the second. Everything on paper says he's going to go to the second because of all the injuries and other things like that. But you'll see in the next one, it depends on who drops in that second round. Then in pick 43, so then you just at least have this backup that could potentially be a starter, and you're at least giving that person a year to rest, and you're going to see what you have at that rookie spot. That's what I would like to do. Just at least still don't waste not having a quarterback. Why not try to get someone in the second? And then at pick 43, Chop Robinson from Penn State. Lots of raw tools. I think that the Bears would love him at that edge spot. And then pick 75, Cam Kitchens, safety out of Miami. Love him if you can get him in the third, because to me, he's more of that late first, early second round type of talent at the safety position. And then rounding it out, Cade Stover, tight end, Ohio State, and Malik Washington, wide receiver out of Virginia, to kind of play some slot and just kind of get some extra wide receivers out there. But let's talk about mock draft number 2. Because I feel like this is going to be everyone's favorite, but let me know down in the comments. Do you like mock draft 1 or mock draft 2 a little bit more? So mock draft 2, I switched it up a little bit. So you do the same trade backs. We're still keeping that. But rather than waiting at 8 or waiting at 9, you trade up. So the idea is that you trade one of your first round, most likely one of your first round picks that you just got, and the 8th or 9th pick to the Patriots or to the Cardinals, whoever it may be, to move up and get Marvin Harrison Jr. What do we think about this? Otherwise, do you go up in a different spot and then you try and get rather than Marvin Harrison Jr., Roma Dunze, someone like that, or not Roma Dunze, but like a Malik Neighbors? But with this, go up, you get Marvin Harrison Jr., you get the Ohio State kid to play with Justin Fields and DJ Moore in this scenario. And then at pick 8, I was like, you know what? Let's just kind of switch things up. Assuming that the offensive weapons are gone, they could go defense. They could go Dallas Turner. We've talked about Byron, the defensive tackle from the Texas Longhorns, who's been moving up draft boards that the Bears might really like. Then at pick 36, in this mock draft, J.J. McCarthy fell. This could be Bo Nix. This could be a quarterback yet again that it's a good business decision to draft a quarterback and have them develop to see what you might have. And because if this team is really good, you at least have someone that can kind of turn up the heat on a Justin Fields. Then at pick 43, Zach Frazier fell, the center out of West Virginia. Then we're going back to defensive end at pick 75 with Austin Booker, who I think the Bears would really like. Very good athlete. And we'll see how his testing goes. But then we end the draft with safety Dadrian Taylor Demerson, the undersized safety that the Bears might like as kind of that backup. They draft a lot of 5'10", 5'11" safeties, so this could be another one. And then Braylon Allen, running back out of Wisconsin, just to kind of round things out and just give a playmaking type of a running back out there, large, big body guy that I think that the Bears and Shane Waldron might really like. So let me know. What do you think the Bears are going to do? I have the mock drafts out there. Mock draft 1 or mock draft 2. Let me know which one is your favorite. I feel like mock draft 2 is going to be the favorite for most people, but I had to drop this episode. I actually am just about to head off to work, so I hope you enjoyed this. And if you really did, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more Chicago Bears news. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a